go back and make myself host for everyone. Sorry. Okay. Hi, everyone. Again, I'm James Swanson, oil painter. I'll be teaching some classes coming up this fall on Monday night and on Saturday mornings about how to paint in oils. And this class here tonight is really just a kind of a get to know you, warm up painting thing for me. I haven't done one of these in a couple months since summer, so I thought I'd better get a warm up in before classes start. And it's always a good one to, show off to new students what kind of how I paint and the process of painting. And that's what we're going to be doing pretty much tonight, is the working on the process of painting. There's one of those thoughts is that when you start painting that you can paint any way you want, and you slap paint up there and you come out with a great painting, and the next one you slap paint up there again and it doesn't turn out. Well, that's the reason is you have to come up with a real process in painting. You can't just haphazardly paint unless you're an abstract person, but we're pretty much painting traditionally. And to do that, you really have to know how those things go. There's a lot of people here. I'm going to have to mute you guys, and if you want to talk, please go ahead and talk, turn on your mic. Okay, so yeah, what I want to show you tonight is really my process on painting and how I go about it, and the things I'm thinking. And this is sort of how I run my classes. Really, I send you out the photo the couple days ahead of time. I don't care how you want to put the image on your canvas, or things you want to put it on, graph it on, or trace it on, or do whatever you want to do. I don't do that. I just go straight from the regular board or right on the canvas and start. I've had enough years of drawing and things behind me that I can pretty much figure out how to fix things pretty quickly. And that's how my paintings look so loose, is because I start with them loose and I just tighten them up. I don't start tight and loosen them up. But to all you guys, paint, work what makes you happy. Make it easiest on yourself. If you need to trace it down there ahead of time, that's fine. But just know that if you want to stay loose and stuff, you're gonna have to it'll take some time to learn to loosen up a little bit. So tonight, I'll just go through what I'm going to be doing tonight. I'm just going to be going through, this is like one of my paintings. This is one that took a few hours to paint. My boy Bjorn here is swimming.
Which we will be painting again, right?
We will be painting, sorry, let me get this out of here. We're going to be painting this.
No, but I'm talking
landing.
about I'm talking about the dog swimming. We're going to set up a class where you're going to show us how you painted. I already posted on Facebook, so.
Yes, it's that one's dry. It's kind of hard to go back and repaint them.
Well, it's gorgeous.
But, thanks. Yeah, we'll be painting this pelican tonight, landing, because it has some really interesting things in it I'll talk to you about in a second. But basically, the class goes from this opening to I'll pull up the photo. We'll go through the design of the painting, because if you don't have the design of the painting right, sometimes it wouldn't make a difference how you painted it. If the design's bad, it's going to end up probably being a bad painting. So we try to work that out ahead of time. A lot of times I'm going to give you the photo. It's already going to be in, set up like this and be good to go. Otherwise, sometimes they'll give you the little bit bigger things and you have to figure out your own cropping. From there, we go on to the palette where we'll mix the colors. One of the things about my palette is I do mix a lot of the colors ahead of time before I paint, and we'll go through all my mixes and what I'm thinking, and I'll quiz you guys on what colors you might want to put in there and that kind of thing. And then after that, we paint. A lot of stuff takes a little long. You know, a lot of people like to cancel out the mixing of the paint thing because they think it takes too long. But in fact, that's what saves you. That's what really speeds things up, is when you have all your paints mixed and you know they all work together. When you throw them up on the canvas, they just like go in and just fit like a puzzle and just go together so quickly. That's how we can get a painting done in an hour and a half. Like basically that's the amount of time we'll have to paint, a little bit about over an hour and a half. And then the class will be over. You guys will do a little critique and see who painted, look at your paintings. I'll give you some ideas, hopefully, or just pat on the back. Also, if you're in the class, you can also, when you're done with your paintings, you think you're done or need help on your paintings, you can put them up on our student website on Facebook, the private site. No one sees it but us, and I'll critique it again, give you some ideas, and either, give you a thumbs up or kick you off the island. And I kick a lot of people off this island, so be happy about it. It's a good thing being kicked off my island. That
Yeah,
means
they
it's too
always
good of
come back.
You did too good a painting, so I'm kicking off my island. Anyway, so that's how we run it. And classes are on Mondays at 7, and on Saturday at start at 9:30, go to noon on both Chicago time. I'm out of Chicago. So this painting we're going to start today. We're going to try and get it done today. This is Pelican Landing here. This is pretty interesting. I got this from a buddy, our Facebook friend. And it's, it's a really nice shot. Everything going right there. And it kind of reminded me of the swan I painted and got into a few shows. It has a lot of similarities, and I thought, yeah, we could do this. We could remember this one. So it has a lot of nice action to it, and it has some reflections to it. It has some darks, it has lights, very contrasty, always a little bit of a problem. So it's always good to talk about those things, talk about color and talk about design and talk about reflections, some of the tougher things going on. So let me pull it up and we'll talk about it. Sorry about the big finger. Okay. See if we bring these up. Okay, one of the first things that we're talking about this Pelican, we're going to be talking about is value. One of the most important things in painting are contrasts and value. This guy, we have a very strong white in him. We have really strong darks in him. In the midtones, very, really only in the water. Everything else is really just dark and light. Midtones are only about there, a little bit of the splash. So, it should go together pretty easily. Let me see about this guy. Okay, in color. The hardest thing in painting is the color green. It is one of the toughest colors to paint with because of it. It's one of those colors you just can't get distance right. It always takes a lot more work to get it right because it just doesn't come through very quickly and easily. It's it's in the mid range of the spectrum, and it just kind of it's really kind of tough, gentle. You got to play with it a little gently to get get the depth to pop out, and that's what we're going to be working with here on this guy, and it should be a lot of fun. Basically, we got some really, warm greens which have a little bit of red in them, And you got a little bit cooler greens back in here. They have a little bit more blue in them. Those guys are going to be what's really going to help set off these, set off this painting and get you some depth. So, you know, things back in here kind of, you get it to travel from here to back there, distance wise in color. You know, they've got this bright green, this, you know, really nice. And I was just talking about reflections too. Reflections, knowing this reflection. One of the things to know about reflection, one of the rules of thumbs I always will mention when we're working on with reflections in water and things, is that, you know, reflections and lights always go darker, you know, a couple degrees darker in the reflections, in the shadows. I mean, in the highlights, and then they go a degree lighter in the shadows. So they go darker in the lights, in the shadow, in the reflections, and lighter in the shadow reflections. Simple little things to know. It helps you, you know, clarify things pretty easily. Okay, talk about design here a little bit. I always put this little grayscale on the sides of the photos just because we're talking value, how strong value is. And you saw it with the black and white, how value, it's very, very dark. Everything in here is going to be dark and be on the lower end of the scale here. Against this really kind of everything about him is pretty much up here in the 2s and 3s scale. Probably 1 for most for the highlights. I try not to go to 0 because 0 is like almost using pure white, and using pure colors out of the tube or anything like that is pretty much a no-no. And so everything's going to be mixed. So when we do need to pop these little highlights here and here and up there, that's when we'll bring out, really hit the guns with the white. But we will be working with a wet paint and stuff, so it's going to come out a little different. So we'll really be able to pop those guys, and that's going to be the key. Drawing wise, simple little things to look at when you're drawing this thing out, when you're laying it out, is, you know, I look at his head as a spear up here, a little circle, and then his head is almost like an ice cream cone. You know how it comes down here. One of the things I notice about this circle is that really it's almost 4 circles long. His head is kind of notice from beak to the back of his head. So if you get this circle here about the right size and just repeat that size circle down here and here, you should come out with a pretty good size that you know, it's going to work out pretty well. Again, then you look here, how that rotates around, and you're going to find that a lot of these areas here are all going to be this width. So when you draw it out, like I do, it's just really nice to know that, you know, when you have something that's symmetrical, not symmetrical, but you can rely on perspective wise to work with drawing and everything, so it can speed things up. Background, not much background here. We just got some nice exciting splash here. We're just going to keep that going. Also look at this thing, how it kind of curves up here. This is probably going to be one of the key and probably the hardest little things to do, is try to lay this splash in here and make it work without being too phony and too horsey. One of the things I've always found with water and reflections and highlights in water is that, you know, you end up tending to put too many highlights in, too many of these high key colors as your highlights. You know, you're putting them in the wrong places, like these areas here. You by putting them in, you just flatten out your painting. So what you want to do is make sure when you only use your highlights that you're only using them in very, very few spots. And you try and use them like candy. You don't want to just, give them out to everything. You just want to hand them out very, very little at a, the really you watch how many you're putting out there. And all these other highlights in the water. Another thing to really watch those guys, how bright they are and making sure they have some color. We'll be talking about that when we get over here to the palette next, about color and colors to look for in the water and things. So, any questions? Good, good, no questions. Let's go over. Holy crap. 1 second. I forgot to turn on my phone to put my see, I told you this. I've been waiting way too long away from doing this. I didn't even set up my second camera. 1 second here. I'm going to come back live here. Come off that. Sorry, I forgot to put my camera on. Oh, easy, wheezy. One. Zoom class. 1 second. I got to find the right one to start. Yes. Any questions? Okay. No questions. Thanks a lot. Here we go. Okay. Come on. Sorry. I usually have this set up.
I have a question, Lisa.
Okay, please.
Do feathers relate in any way to when you paint fur?
Do the feathers what?
Are they similar to when you're painting fur?
Oh, thank you. They do have a very are very have a very big relationship. A lot of the feathers and fur, yeah, so many things are really can be based off each other. It's just a different, basically just a slightly different pressure to the brush can make it a lot of difference. I'm sorry, am I having trouble getting on here? 1 second, and what the heck happened? Okay, let me try again. One. This usually doesn't happen. Wow, it doesn't want to let me on. It doesn't want to let me into class. Let me do it this way. I'm sorry. Oh, God, it's been so long.
Jim, you might have to copy the code. We all had to get a code, use the code to get in.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to have to do it.
Okay.
That's why I'm sending it to myself right now.
Oh, okay.
This is what I usually do. It's like, one day, a couple weeks out of here and I forgot everything. Because this is usually, there we go. There we go. Okay. Sorry. No audio. Got it. I guess I'll just gonna have to paint a lot faster. Okay, there we go. Let's flip this around. All right, I'll flip this around and get this going. Sorry, well, my bad. That's why this is a free one. Congratulations. Now you find out why. All right. Of course, come on. Come on. Well, all my other classes, at least this will be set up for. Okay, my color palette and my kit. Sorry, it took so long to get here. Pretty simple. I use a lot of Rembrandt paints. This is titanium white. This is a cad yellow light. I got some cad red light and some cad medium out. This is cad orange. This is oxide red light. A lot of times I use Terra Rosa in place of it here. I have yellow ochre. This is alizarin crimson. But if you're Rembrandt, that is rose madder deep. Cobalt blue, phthalo green. And over here, I do have some oxide red, transparent oxide red. A while back, I was having problems with that. So with my oxide reds and stuff. So I have transparent oxide red out too, besides regular light. So my kit, I have some synthetics here, and I have some big bristles. These are like 12s, 10s, and 8s in both. And I also have my big brush, my big blocking brush, regular palette knife, and a little paint eraser that comes in handy when you're working wet into wet, like we do. All right. Into making some colors. All right. First, looking at this, what I'm going to look at is the darkness. I want to look at this pelican, the back end here. Sorry. I have a big monitor I'll be using for color for my visually, but and I'll be pointing to this. This thing's turned out pretty close. This is really pretty close, in fact, color-wise, this printout. Okay, I'm going to start with my greens first. I'm going to start with my greens, make up my warm greens first. So I'm going to start with some phthalo green. Probably do 2 piles of it. I'm going to use, I feel a lot of warmth right in here. This warmth, this dark area here of phthalo green. So I'm going to use some transparent oxide red together with that phthalo green to get the warmth to pop out. That'll help bring it forward and everything too. I'm going to be doing 2 versions of that color. One on the phthalo green side. So it's just going to have a little bit more phthalo green in it. And one on the red side. I'm going to put a little bit more red in this side just to push it a little bit more. So you can really see the difference. Yeah, there. Okay. Also going to do some other greens up here, but I'm going to do those with blue. I'm going to do some blue and ochres together for some of these other greens. In the same way I did the oxide red and phthalo green. I'm going to do these guys mostly do one with a little bit more ochre. So that's going to come in back in here and be some of the tops of these trees here. And then this one's going to have a little bit less. It's going to be really more in the blue. So the blue I use is Cobalt Blue Hue by Utrecht. I find it to be a very dark blue, and it's warmer than ultramarine, and not as warmer than French ultramarine too. So I like it. It's really great blue, great blue. So you can see my greens I'm starting to build up here. You know, you got your warm red ones, you got even a warm green one. Then you got a blue cool green, and then you got another green, but not quite as green. So a lot of greens are going to be popping up here. Another green I like that's going to have to be in here, which I want to get in here again. Phthalo green and alizarin. This one's gonna be on the alizarin side, so it has a lot of red in it, a little bit too red. And then this one, so add just a little bit of red into it. So, but it's gonna be on the green side. And those should take me through all my greens I need. Wait, one more, sorry. One more. I want to try it. I need to get a little bit of warmth going here too in these mid-tones. So I'm going to go with my cad red and phthalo green. That's probably too much. That's okay. See, when you have good colors like these guys are, you know, when your cadmiums can stand up to something as powerful as a phthalo color, you know, you got good colors. So those are basically all my darks I'll be using for pretty much carrying through this whole back area here. I'll be able to use all these colors. Now coming forward, all I have to do is take pieces of each one of these guys, and I'm going to hit them with either a yellow or an orange and see what happens, see if I can see where they land. So I'm taking half of each pile, so I don't need that much darks. These two I'm going to add just white to. Those are the phthalo green and alizarin right here. I'm going to add a little bit of white to those guys. I want a different color from those guys. It's going to make a really nice color for the bird. These other ones I'll be adding some cad yellow to. Value wise, when I look at that, I'll be looking at this water right in here, you know, right in here for value. And then that tells me right around a 6. So that's the value I'm going to be shooting for. Just bring in enough yellow into the dark areas here to see what happens when they get to a 6. And as you can tell, that is still at like a 7. And to get these colors, you have to squint your eyes down and really close off color and see them for just black and white, and we'll see where they land on here. And that's still way down here. That's still a 7 value wise. I might be using way too much paint to do that. This one. Let me go to the next one. I might take just a little bit less. I don't want to use up all my yellow. So you can see when that hits the right color. Just a little light, a little dark yet. Good enough. Okay, next one, same thing. You'll start figuring out here how these greens are going to start laying out. And I'll start feeling the distance, how I can start creating distance with layering, how I'm going to layer the yellow greens against the red greens against the orange greens. A lot of these, you're finding right here, very similar. And this one I should not have added yellow to. put it over here. These guys. Now you can start seeing some, like I said, some of the orangier ones that are greens right here showing up. Otherwise, a lot of these guys are very close and aren't going to be making that much difference. All right, so now I'll just take and look at these guys again going, okay, well, value-wise, yeah, a couple of these guys are off. I'm going to lighten this guy up with some orange. I'll go over these colors again. Why I'm doing this, adding orange to it, because I see some orange in this water here too. And it could also be back in here. So I'm just going to add just a little orange to this pile, basically because I'm too lazy to reach down and dig out a yellow. Dig out my yellow because I did. All right. I put out some more yellow. Anyway. All right. So let's just say I got enough greens here. I got a pretty good amount of greens. I'm going to go back to these two phthalo greens and alizarans here. And instead of adding yellow, I'm going to add white to these guys. Because I'll get some of these cooler greens I'm looking for that are going to be in this bird, but not probably a lot higher key than this. But I'll get this purple out of this one, which is like, I know it's going to be in this bird, in the shadow areas, in its neck and things. It's going to be a little bit higher than where I have it right now. Right now it's probably be down here. Yeah, this is probably like a 6. These colors are almost 6s, 5s, and 6s. And they would have to go up to about 4s to be the right colors. I'm going to add just a little bit more white to them. And that will take care of a little bit of problem I was thinking about having with getting some color into this bird. He's all white and, not a whole lot to play with. So like I need to build some warms and cools into them, pinks and other things. So these two cool colors, you can just see against these brighter greens what's going on. So what I want to do now is just take a few of these greens and hit those guys with white. There you go. You start seeing these warm things. One of the things you're going to find in this bird as you go is reflective colors. A lot of reflective colors in this bird, where he needs to have this green is reflecting back into his body, and you need to have some of these colors reflecting in there. So that's why I'm putting in a little bit of greens and stuff, thinking about this. This is some of the bird color going in. I bypassed some of the yellows and things in here after I got this one done. I decided, I'm going to go right back to the red and phthalo green here and mix that in here because that's really in here. That's in here too, but I think the red side is more important in here too. Make that green stand out. Sometimes you need a little red. Color-wise, dark, that. Okay. Next thing I want to look at is his beak and his face. Usually I'm going to try and build those guys off of a color up here. I don't want to just start raw I usually like to have something in there. So I'm going to take this one I added just a little orange to instead of yellow over here, just a little piece of that. And then hit it with some yellow and red. So cad yellow, as you can tell, it's way off. Just a touch of red into it, get the orange back into it. But it still has a little bit of base of green into it. And, you know, that'll start getting me in here. A little more red. So I'm going to go for basically just matching the value first, and then I'm going to tone it. There we go. Pretty much there you are. That's, sorry, you can't probably see that, but that's going to be really close when I hit it with just a touch of white. I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm just going to bring down this piece here because that's what's going to, should be able to get right into that color. So that color was, started off from my phthalo green and oxide red mix up here with some yellow into it. And I used some orange into it. Then I brought it over here and add yellow and red to it. And then I'm adding white to it. Just, you know, very, very scientific mixing going on. Okay, one of the things you know about me is I'm a pretty bad kidder. I'm from Wisconsin. And yeah, I just make things up a little bit too much. So I'm building in some yellow into the colors. You split this color pile, added some yellow to it. This thing, I'll probably be able to get this guy's eye out of that thing. They should, that whole beak and area should come out of the same color range. So just by adding white to it, just adding some cad yellow to it, you get this. Now, really, one of the colors I'm really kind of missing is just this really red area on the beak. Yeah, and that's just as simple as adding just a little more red to it. Maybe that's the wrong red. Yeah, it's the wrong red. Should have been alizarin. Should have been cooler red. There you go. So adds a little more coolness to it. And that'll pretty much do it. That just needs to be lightened up with just a hair of white into it, so it doesn't just jump out at me. That'll do it. Get me in there. Probably could use keep it a little dark too. Probably gonna need one little dark spot too. Okay, and there you have it, pretty much. Now we got a few things here. I want to work on a few more lights. Like I said, pinks and stuff. When you see, when I look at this guy, if you stare at the whites long enough, you know, you see, I kind of feel like I see these guys going blue back in here, bluer highlights and warmer highlights on this front wing, and a little bit pinker highlights down in here.
James, we can't see the reference. There you go. Thank you.
Sorry. Yeah, I was thinking right back here on the head, a lot more cooler whites for the highlights, and then a little bit warmer ones here on this wing, and a little bit in between, probably more pink in this arm coming up. So I'm going to mix up a few of those coming off these colors here. You know, I have these greens. Definitely, I want to take a few of these colors and take those guys way up, and I think I can get the highlights for a few things in here. So I'm going to take these greens, a few of these greens, all the way up to, like, you know, ones. Ones is pretty much as high as I'll go. Ones and twos. And I want, you know, I'm going to have some cool grays in here, but I also going to want to have some regular warmer grays. So what I'll just take is take a little bit of green and add it to against my purple. I made up this alizarin and phthalo green. This is on the alizarin side and has a lot of white in it. But if I take it down here and I add some green from one of these guys to it, all of a sudden a warmer green to it, just to tone it out a little bit, where I can have a gray that's going to work underneath here a little bit. So I'm just going to have a few, because this is kind of cool. I need a little bit of warmer one to balance it off. And also these guys are going to be going into the water too, so it's good to have them. Let's see, anything else? Okay, highlights. A couple more highlights I want to do. Just in the pink and pinkish. So I'm going to go a little bit of alizarin and white. That's a little bit too much pink. Cut off a little bit of that. Just do it over here. All right. And then ochreish. Little touch of ochre in this one, so it's a little more yellow, white. And then a blue white. So just a touch of blue in my white. So those would be my highlights. I'll be going back and forth around, trying to get depth between, trying to get this wing come forward, everything else to go back. I work in, like you can see, I work in piles. I don't like to run out of color. One more color I kind of miss here too. This is warm red and white. You're going to find this in the highlights in the water. This is oxide red and light with white. And I'll try to get it pretty high key too. And gets a nice coral color stuff. It's really nice to have. That's a really gets a little. The alizarin gets a little cool sometimes. All right, that's about all the colors I'm going to need. At least I'll be able to get them through today, you know, tonight and stuff. So I'll go through the colors again. Okay, up here we have phthalo green and oxide red light. This is on the oxide red light side. This is on the phthalo green side. Bring them down with some yellow. This one I decided to split it and add some orange to it. Then I went with blue and ochre, yellow ochre. This is on the blue side. This is on the ochre side coming down. And you, as you know, when you add yellow to it, sometimes can't tell each one from the other. So that's not too bad. We'll just leave that. Over here we have phthalo green and alizarin. Coming down with some white. I added white to them because I need some cool greens and grays to start going in, because it's going to be, as I can see right here, this is going to be way too much. Over here we have some warmer greens. We have some phthalo green with cad red, and more green and more red. Coming down with just a little bit of yellow. Trying to get them right around a 6. You know, I could have gone. I'll probably go a little bit farther now that I have them down here. I have more yellow. Taking these guys down just a little bit farther with more on the yellow side. Trying to, you know, get in here a little bit more, so they could, you know, I really didn't take these guys up. I was kind of speeding things up since I lost a little time here, but this is what I'll end up doing, is probably just taking these colors and adding some more yellows to them, trying to get them up into these really closer tones at the bottom here. But that's about it. Over here I took a little bit of this orange, phthalo green and oxide red mix down here. I took a little bit of that, put this over here, put in some cad red and yellow to it. and then made this orange, made more yellow, and I added a little bit of white. Over here, I added a little more yellow to it, and it got a little bit more closer to his eyeball area. And then I go, well, you know, I got to get the beak out of there. So I want to get the beak out of there. So I just want to take this and just pushed in a little bit, took a piece of this color here, added just a little bit of alizarin to it. And I go, well, I need a little bit darker one too. So I just put a little more alizarin to it, just for that crease there. Just sometimes you never know. So what happens when you start mixing colors, you just keep playing. These two colors I took and brought them down here. I wanted to get like number 2s out of them. I took a green and brought it down here with a little purple into it. And I also took a little phthalo, these phthalo greens and cad red, and brought those guys down with some white, just to have a few colors just to play with underneath the wings and things like that, just to get going. Then I went for my really kind of final highlights, which is ochre and white. This is alizarin and white. This is blue and white, basically, and this is oxide red and light. That's about it, color-wise. See you guys next week. That's it. Now we'll come back. Coming back here, let me bring you guys in. All right, coming back. Wow, a lot of people here. Hi, everyone. Okay, I'm going to bring this in. I'll bring it in as close as I can without knocking into it too much. Usually, you know, takes a little bit. Try to keep the photo on there for you can see. I'll be able to point to it a little bit and talk about it as we go. Basically, I just work off a linen panel right here. Nice quality, cheap, good quality though. I'm going to start off my biggest brush. I'm going to just tone this with some oxide red light. Oh no, this is oxide red, transparent oxide red. It's kind of like a burnt sienna. You know, if you had burnt sienna, you could use that. Like not a real specialty color. So you can see it looks a lot like burnt sienna. So what I want to do here is I just like getting rid of all the white because of don't like white. It's easier to adjust your colors. It's hard to get the contrast right when you're against white. So that's why I'm really transferring, getting rid of this color. Also at this time too, I'm also thinking about, well, you know, if this color does show through, you know, let's, you know, let it show through, be fun, you know, color wise. There we go. Little bit of wiping and we're good. Yeah, one of the things is also too is just, you know, this haphazard strokes in here. I'll be putting in like that. You know, it could be fun showing through. So, you know, even back in here, this color I have here is really pretty close to what I need. So this is just one little thing I don't have to think about. All right, drawing it in. Drawing the thing, really getting that direction going of where I want this guy to, you know, be and end. You know, I don't want him to end too close to the edge because it'd be awkward. So he has to end right about, you know, an inch or so out. So And like I said, I'm going to go for the angle of the head. Work on the angle first. There you go. Lower. Okay. A little smaller. Get that head in the right perspective.
Jim, quick question. This is Dorian. It's nice to be back in class.
Hey, Dorian, how are you doing?
I'm okay. Are you still using safflower oil as your medium to thin, to do the toning and to thin your paint with?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Did
Okay.
not mention that, did I? Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, I do use safflower oil for
Thank
here, big old bottle of it here. Big old bottle of it I have.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's
Thank you.
almost empty. I just got a new one. Yeah, it really makes the paint slide, slide on nice and easy. So
It does. I just want to make sure that's what you're still using. Okay, great.
yeah, when we were in France though, we had to use dryer and stuff like that in our paints, and so we couldn't use it.
Oh,
And
okay.
because we had to get the paintings back. Yeah. And
Oh, really?
yeah, it was a pain in the butt, and just doesn't when you have to paint with liquid and stuff like that, just a totally different feel
Yeah,
than
it
than
is for
this.
sure.
Yeah. So all right. Going to do it that way. I'm just going to wipe out a little bit of this stuff so I can sort of see where I'm going to go. Pull out a little highlight there and highlight there, and that's pretty much drawing as I need. One of the things I definitely would love to do is, redraw this. Redraw it, move it over a little bit. It's just too doggone in the middle. So I'm going to draw it over here, just steal it a little bit more space here, not much. I wanted to say 2 inches. Now I'm down to 1.5 inches. Basically, I just want to get this guy out of the middle. Talk about design work and putting something in the middle of a painting is pretty much a no-no too. So I'm going to slide this guy over. And I think it's had just a little. That's what happened. Okay. This splash has to happen right about here. Gotta have enough chest to make it work. All right, just talk to myself a lot. Okay. And I am drawing at an angle here, so this is gonna be, I took this one because I thought it was, an quick, easy draw too, right? Nice, simple draw. I wouldn't have to think about it too much. Okay. I can fix everything later with paint. All right, there we go. Let's say that's close. It'll be close when we get there. I'm going to start off with my darkest colors and get those guys in. Some of the darker ones I want to try and get in here is right here. I want to make sure I get the darkest things right around the head, in between the head and neck there too. So I'm going to start off that the first colors are oxide red and phthalo green. I want to make sure I get, this area here. pure dark, just with some warmth, in it. Bring it down to about that water's edge. Can't really see a difference in the, a line or anything, but there is, just say there is. And then I'm going to get above the head here a little bit. I'm just going to blow that out a little bit of his head. And then, I want to keep it really solid there. That's why I put it in really solid. Now I'll just use the color that's back there in a little bit and do a little transparencies strokes here. Okay. Where the water meets, where it meets the water, this is where I'm going to be using like phthalo green, more phthalo green than the red. Right here, this bottom area here into the splash, where the splash goes. And I'm just going to blend that, do a quick blend. You can't really see the difference. You're just going to feel the difference because of the difference between the warm red and the phthalo green, and the red, more green than the phthalo red in the right here. So you can start just this little area right here. You can start to feel it, come up. That's all you need. I'm just going to run my brush out of here a little bit with that color, what I have in there. Got this other stuff going. I'm just going to blend it out. Like, here you go. Okay. From here back, I'm going to probably go to this. Let me try this. This is ochre and green. I'm going to go back with that really dark red one. Sorry. This is the phthalo green and red again, oxide red. I want to get the back behind his head here. And get that in there right too. Get a little darkness in there too, because it's.
Excuse me, Jim.
Yeah.
When you're laying in the color right now, are you using any medium at all?
Nothing really. No, when I grabbed the paint, there's nothing here but what was left on that little bit of oil that I used to tone the canvas. That's all that's there.
Thank you.
So, and that's why it goes in kind of smooth and clean. Yeah, if I use a lot of oil, as you can tell down in here, I used just a little bit of oil, because I basically was trying to clean out my brush a little bit too. And you can see how blendy it gets really quickly. Yeah, I'm going to use just a little more dark here for this back area back in here too. That kind of helps stop the eye from going all the way off here. Just kind of bring it back up. So that's a little dark. That's a little red though. I mean, a little green. There you go. All right. I'm just going to go up and just finish off a little bit of, this is the blue and ochre. I'm putting the blue in the ochre. This has more blue in it. I'm going to put it back farther in the painting. And this is where I have more ochre in it. And that's going to come up here to the front, right around this end. Back there is going to go blue. This is going to go a little bit more green, yellowish green. That's going to help give me a little depth in these greens, because that's one of the toughest things, is find depth in this greens, like I said before. So, and then this color here now, against everything else, against these beautiful flat colors and stuff. Now I can start bringing it in, and you start getting the a few little marks in here of the tree, of trying to create that, the tree that's touching the water back in here. You're going to catch a little bit of more green going on in there. Okay. All right, let's just keep going with the greens. Working on a little bit of warmth back in here. This is oxide red and cad red and phthalo green. I'm getting that back into this area here, trying to get a little bit of reflective color that's going to come down and into the back end, and working that in a little bit. Find out where else I can put it now too. I think a lot of that warmth going to be right here in this, underneath the bird. There's a little bit of that showing through right before the white splash. There's a little bit of warmth where that really makes this, that kind of blue green I put in here, pop. Okay. Fold these guys out a little bit. Just a few, I consider goofy strokes, trying to get it to be a little looser than back there. I don't want a lot of looks back in here, you know, so the more crazy you make it, the more they won't want to, you know, care to, you know, study there right off the bat. You know, everything will start to come back to focus here. All right, so. Okay. I'm gonna start working a little more towards my warmer greens, and I'll get those guys laid in here, and then then I'll dive back into the bird a little bit. So basically I've used my dark colors up. I mean, I've used them. They're pretty much in here. I got them back in here, back in there, trying to figure out the, you know, the give here. Stuff I'm still thinking maybe this blue could come down here a little bit more. Talk about blue, I'm talking, it's a phthalo, it's more blue green, the phthalo green and oxide red. So, but that, now I'll be moving on to my brighter greens, the ones where I use a lot of yellow into my, instead of, you know, bringing those colors in. So let's see what I got here. Pretty much, you know, they're all about the same. They're gonna play with a little bit, darken in a few of these guys, so I don't have all the same green going here. This is oxide red and green, phthalo green with yellow. Now it's going to end up doing a lot of damage in this painting. I can probably do a lot of it. One of the things too, reflections and things like this, a lot of stuff either has to be going pretty straight verticals or horizontals, or pretty much straight down. on your reflectives, even though they have to be, you know, turned into waves and stuff. But a lot of the reflective things back there, you're going to find are more just a vertical stroke, even though it's reflecting a horizontal type thing. All right. What I'm going to do is try and get this to block in with a few different colors. Right now, it's not. You know, thinking about the reflective, getting the body where the body's going to end up being on this thing. This thing's going to probably have to be drawn a little bit different. So too, I have to bring this up a little bit. His neck up and that a little bit more too. Get the drawing better. I just use that paint eraser basically to, you know, redo my drawing a little bit and get some of the paint out of there. Because, you know, you're playing with phalos and stuff like this. It's really, you know, they get into everything. You know, like little kids, they just get into everything. You know, you got to watch it a little bit. This needs a little more blue right back in here, this green. So while I'm at it, I have that on my brush. I'm just gonna darken this, get it off a little bit of red I had in here. Just push the blue part of it back in. Okay. Anything over here? No, pretty good, pretty good. Going quick. Okay. There we go. Yeah, just gonna work the mean greens here. Gonna go for basically just I will work out a lot of the waves in a minute. But you know, one of the things I just want to make sure I have the reflective reflection kind of working right. Where that's going to be. Let me clear off a little bit of paint here for mark it a little bit better. Okay. All right. Okay. Now I'm going to start. I got some base tones in here. Now I can just really look at these little areas where you do have waves, rings coming off this guy. As you can see, they're just rings, you know, so it's really just getting one ring right and then following it up with another ring. So we go with the dark. I'm going to go back to my dark here. Just pretty simple right now, color wise. I'm not trying to do anything too dramatic on it. This is just phthalo green and oxide red right here, mixed with a little bit of yellow. So it's not getting totally blue, but it is. I got one big nice one going down in here and one coming right above it, ring wise. And then this one drops back behind. Keeping them simple so I don't have to think about it too much. And then over here, definitely more yellowish, maybe even on the orangier side. Let me see what this does. That'll work. This is the blue and ochre with yellow in it. I'm going to use that down here at the bottom of this area. I'm really just twisting my brush off at the end a little bit to get some nice little lines, spikes, and things going on. This light, like, I'm just going to end up coming back here every once in a while and just hitting a few of these little dots or rings back in this far point here. And then the front here, just lighten up a few spots. And just, leaving the dark in between the rings. Now that my brush has picked up a lot of that green and stuff, I have a lot of yellow with my brush, and I add just a little more orange to it. As I go back in space here a little bit, gray it out a little bit, this color. Get some more warmth going into some of these splashes that's coming out. Okay. As you can tell, it just needs a little bit of clearing out here of color. Okay. Splash. Just trying to get something interesting going here. Just thinking about that splash here. There you go. Okay. All right. I think I'm gonna put in some, before I go put my big brush away here, I want to put in these this tip of the wing here, this really dark tip. Again, that's just going to be phthalo green and alizarin. Got a little too much green in my brush here. And I'm going to put it in really strong. Make sure the alizarin side really shows through, so because against that green, it almost turns black. We're getting this tip of the wing here show through really nice and clean. At least the front part of this wing. The back end. Add just a little more red to it. To this side of the wing. Get a little dimension going. It's a dark, then that red, just a little bit of lighter red added to it, just really pops it up nicely. That'll be nice. That'll be nice. That comes up all the way up to here. Okay. All right, now it's like building the bird. Say the background pretty much done. We got a lot of yellows, greens in there added already. You know, just need to start to, you know, build the grays up. And just like we did with the greens in the water here, which you can pretty much do with the body of the bird and the yellow. So if I got to put this down, this thing has too much green in it. And I'm going to just go to a regular number 12 here and start looking at building these grays. Warmer grays, I want to put some warmer grays into this front area here, in this front wing here. It's okay to be like a step or two dark. Like that. That's okay. I'll be lightening them up pretty quickly.
Jim, which pile are you pulling from under that wing?
I just used some oxide red and phthalo green up here. Oxide red and phthalo green. Because of the red in, I see the red right in here, this top edge, or the bottom edge, where turning a little warm and then going a little cool. So that's why I wanted to get that in there and then get it also. So I just put a little bit of white into that color too, I guess. I can't get anything past you. Smart. So this is that oxide, this is, sorry, cad red and cad red light and phthalo green going in underneath this wing arm. And it's very thin. That's why I'm putting in it very, very thin. Because it's not meant to be like a real color. It's meant to be colored over, but I just want to have this color in underneath. So this is like what Lisa mentioned earlier about painting fur and doing other things, that how the relationship of painting things can be very you know, very common between painting feathers and painting fur. The only thing is every once in a while I got to make a thick gob of you know, gob with my brush to make it look like a feather, make more of a round edge to it. Where in fur, it's basically a little bit different stroke and just a little bit of letting it go, and then trying to get the bristles to open up a little bit and do the work. I'm going to go a little cooler right there too. Because I'm feeling there's going to be some really big highlights coming in here. So this is, again, the color is going to be used right now. I'm going to keep it really kind of simple now on the back of the head here. These are going to be just oxide or phthalo green and alizarin. And this is on the alizarin side right here. I'm using on the back head here, going down his neck and into his body. Chest, body, going right into here. I'll just, now as I go, I'll start to straighten out my drawing a little bit, you know, seeing where I was off. It's okay. you know, to be off. Okay, so that's about that. It's gonna work. There's a little bit of coolness in his breast and chest going down in here into the water. A little bit of coolness underneath. A lot of warmth on top of it. But I'm going to be mixing both these cools together because the phthalo green with the alizarin become a very powerful cool colors together and work really well in and under these wings. See, I put that cad red and phthalo green together for the top part of this wing. And then underneath it, in these feathers, these guys are going to be all like phthalo green and alizarin. So you have a cool, and this is on the phthalo green side, and that's what stands out. That's what the feathers I'm going to try and get to stand out here. Just gonna, yes, I'm going to have to make it a little bit bigger than I thought. Okay. On the bottom edge, these guys stand out a little bit. Maybe a little purple on that one. Okay. I have to keep that coming again. I lost my warm dark there. Okay. This is oils. It's meant to be played with. It's not meant to be, you know, perfect. You need to push it, play with it, move it around. So I don't try to get everything perfect the first time around. It's always like a work in progress. I just want to keep things moving and get it blocked in pretty much as fast as I can, or I can really start to judge things. But to judge things here, I just want to get a little bit more. More warmth right in here in the neck. Going down. Got that purple, light purple in there and stuff. I just want to start to lose structure. And I don't get enough. Doesn't get quite as dark as you need it to be. And against the whites, it's really, I'm cheating it a little bit more than I need to. Okay, well, that's really cheating. Okay. So, at least that orange I put in, laid down earlier, just helped hold the beak in place a little bit. Now I'm just going to go in and, place it a little bit tighter. Start to tighten it up a little bit. That yellow above the eye. Start marking that out. Same underneath. Yes. I'm going to go with a nice warm, keep it a little dark.
Jim, is that still the number 12 brush that you're using there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you can't go any smaller. I'm sorry, you can't go smaller
No.
yet.
Okay.
No, this is a rosemary though, so you know, it goes, from 0 to 12 like that. So it's hard to tell,
Okay.
Yeah. So, okay, that's working out all right there. I'm just going to brighten up a little bit more red up here. His beak up there. Like I said, this is where I made made a little bit more alizarin color. Get this little darkness into his beak. Okay. Not bad. Not. See, now it's just starting to take, now it feels like it's starting to become something, but. Got that color. Think about that. Where his leg is too. You can just barely see his leg right here. You can just see a little bit of orange, yellow orange here. So just push it in there right now. Where? Yeah, just thinking about how to start to attack the water's reflections and how I'm going to get those guys in. Like, do I need to bring in just a little bit of cooler green underneath here? That kind of stuff, looking at that and how these guys are going to start laying out. Soften a few of these guys out. That'll work. Okay, like I was mentioning about reflections, this one here just being a couple degrees darker in the water, so I'm going to need a little more red green here. Got a little bit too much green going here. Need more of a mid-tone coming in here at the bottom edge here. So this is again phthalo green and alizarin, just a little bit more on the alizarin side. What I'm trying to do is lay it in simple as possible. Maybe it's not the exact shape, but it's pretty close to it. And I can just start laying out these guys a little bit better. Getting the rings to match up the rings of water going out, and just matching up a little bit better with the whites now. So get that together. That's half the problem on this, or half the battle. Looks like it'd probably go a little warmer too. So I'm putting a little warmer red into that, I think. I'm talking about a gray I need a kind of just a slightly warmer gray than that cool gray. So basically it's switching out a cool red, the alizarin, to a cad red, which is a warmer red. You get the different kind of a warmer gray into this reflection. That's working. That's all of a sudden you start to see some things happening. And again, you know, trying to make interesting marks as I go. That's why I twist my brush off all the time. I'm trying to keep interesting marks, movement. Okay, so that's good. That's really what I was color-wise in here is really close where I want. I can start to bring it out into the little bit into the water too. A lot of this is kind of like just experimenting as you go a little bit with color, trying to figure out. I kind of knew what colors these were going to be, but sometimes, you know, when you get going, something else happens and color reacts different against one color against another. So, but I should have known. I'm going to also put a little bit of that. I'm mixing up just a little bit of more of this warmer gray with the phthalo green and cad red and white here, just a little bit warmer. You know, it's just a little different than the. It's not as really fiery as this one here, as the cad red light and stuff. So it's a little cooler, but kind of feel like that's what I was missing right back in here. On this back end, I haven't really kind of left green because I know I saw green in there, but I was going, I'm not sure if I want to replace that yet. I didn't think that felt a little bit too warm. But this is much better. And since I already used it in the water, you know, it definitely can go in here really easy. So, and that's just going to bring this in a little bit more underneath where it connects with the bird with the water. I'm going to use this color. I always find that cads, reds, and really are a nice transition color from lights to darks. Okay, this splash in front here, definitely going to need a little bit of that. Don't need too much more red. That splash. Okay. What I'm trying to do with the splash is get the back edge of the splash a little bit darker and then a little bit more green. I mean, and then a little bit more green right in the front edge of it, right in here. So when I put the highlights in, it'll just start to separate out a little bit more. And so just a little more green into the midtones of this splash, like right in here. And I'm going to keep it just a little cooler on the back side of that splash. Up here, I want to go more blue. Feel a little blue showing through. I'm adding just a little bit of blue to my face. This is both the colors I'm using again are phthalo green and alizarin. And I'm just basically have that pile of white and gray. I made about a 50% value of them. And now I'm just going through and just going to twist my brush off and just let the splashes go where they will. Bring this back in and just, I use it there. I like to get a little bit more in the water back in here too. So it has a little bit of phthalo into it, has a little bit of blue into it. So I'm just looking for other areas in the water here that maybe I can put it so it doesn't, just sit in this one spot. I can have, so it kind of carries the eye around a little bit. Okay, definitely I probably could find a spot there for it, and in the wings would be a lot of fun. Especially underneath. It should have looked here first, because that's right there. It's a beautiful little way to get some depth into this thing before I put the highlights in. Anyway, got that. I want to put some purples on top of that. Come back with some warmer purple whites. So I'm going to put some blue back, red into that, and just a little more white. Get a little bit of purplish gray here, a little bit more blue, purple, gray. That's what I'm putting in with blue and a little bit of red. Gotta just keep grabbing too much. Get a little bit of that splash going over. Can't really tell. That can't really tell. Values are so close. Be a lot darker. Okay. That one spot. It's awful quiet. Okay. Let's work this back in here a little bit. All right. Now for the bigger stuff. Big strokes. This gets just highlights on it. Time-wise, we're at 8:40. No way I got that done in 40 minutes. Really? Wow. I guess I better put I guess I got time to work on the background. No, I'm gonna just go with my big guns and go with it. I'm gonna take out a bristle brush. I got a good bristle brush. This is like a number 12. I'm gonna go for this. Go for the big thing right off the bat. I'm gonna shoot for this big wing light. The light on that wing, top wing. And like I said, I see that a little bit warmer, more pink, corally color pink on the whole. So I'm going to take just a little bit of oil, just barely touch my brush into oil, barely get the tip of it. Then I'm going to grab my paint. I'm going to grab a big ass glob of paint. And when I put it in here, I'm going to try and drag it back with authority. And I'll shove it in here. And then when I bring it back, just let it come off and then twist it into space. And just let the paint come off really strong. Probably should have cleaned that out a little bit better. But I'm going to leave that.
Jim, it's Lori.
Yeah, put it
I
in with
have-
authority. Didn't decided not to go in with authority. Uh, anyway, that's what happens. You know, you can't. Goddamn paint never pays attention to what you're trying to sell it for. You know.
Jim,
Oh.
I'm having an issue that when you're doing that and then a little tiny bit of the brush touches the green, and then you're messed up. And then you gotta almost start over. Or is it just experience? What's the
It's
trick?
The trick is to really don't play with your food. You know, you put it in there and go with it. You have to put things in with real confidently. You can't. The more you touch, put it down slowly. Yeah, that green will eat you alive. That's, I think, is what happened. But
With authority.
yeah,
Thank you.
no worries. Did that help at all? I'm going to put in a little bit of light color in here too. As you can see, it's just a little bit more white. That's not white, but that's ochre yellow. Because I was going to go with that on his head. You know, start bringing just touches of that yellow ochre in here now to start to define the top of his head here. And then the chest too, just a little bit yellow, white, white. This is white and ochre. Yeah, I don't go back and forth either when I put the color in. After I get the color in, I do not put my paint back, my brush back in. I wipe it to get that green off it. Because if you do that, yeah, you'll keep getting it. You'll keep going back and in here, and every time you touch something, you're gonna pollute your paint. Very easy to do. Now you can start digging in these back feathers here underneath. Start to cool those guys off. A little too bright, but stroke not bad. I'm just going to darken them in a little bit. Play back and forth a little bit on value there. Trying to get a couple of those feathers. I put them in cool. I was putting in with a little bit of a cool or blue gray there. And then I'm just going to against this warmer gray here. Then I also have this yellow, this kind of warmer green I made up. I wanted to bring into these guys too a little bit. And yeah, another thing about, very similar to the painting fur, and this is very much follow the feathers. You don't, you see where those feathers are coming from and where they're going, and, stroke down, stroke with them. Go follow it. All right, well. Yeah, half the thing about putting in your strokes is really, like I just mentioned, you know, feeling like you put them in with, like you mean it, because that's when the color from the brush really goes in impactful. You put it in as a dab, it's going to blend a lot with the paint that's there. It's not going to go in as strong as it needs to go in usually, you know. So really, just one of the things is, you know, you don't play with it too much. You just, you know, you put it where it belongs and take it and move it. Don't worry about it. The oils, we can always keep changing it if we have to. It's not a big, not that big a deal. All right. Well, we'll get to the point here where I gotta, you know, like me start making some real decisions. You know, I've gotten, you know, some of this right, some of this is wrong. And, you know, I can deal with a lot of that stuff later. But I want to try and get a little bit of the sparkle of this front splash going. And I'm going to do that with my knife. In fact, it's one of the things is with these splashes is really getting a impact of the paint in there. Sometimes you got to put it in impactful. So if I look at that light in this thing, this is pretty one of the hottest colors in the thing. It could pretty much be even warmer than the wing here. So if I put it in with that yellow ochre white mix, I should be all right. I maybe just punch it up a little bit more. So I'm going to load my knife up pretty flat. Just kind of lay it in here and just lay it in here and just give it a quick twist and play with it just a little bit. I get one big nice gob and then a couple little offshoots and play with that. So it has some really kind of fun thick paint going on here. Okay. And well, let's just push this around a little bit. So I'm going to do that. Okay. Just a little bit more. That's the thing, is always a little bit more than you just like, oh, I did too much. So I'm going to leave that there and just go back and put a little bit of drawing. I'm going to draw with my knife basically a little bit. Back in here, I think I'm going to draw it in with the cooler blue gray highlights in the water. So it's not strong as that. So I don't have, because if I put them in with that yellow back there, figure it's going to flatten it out. You know, this isn't going to pop out at the way I want it to. So keep the strength, keeps this a little bit cooler back there. Doesn't feel like it. I mean, it's just as strong with the light. I'm going to put it in my knife and then move it around a little bit. And brush it, just a touch of brush work. Okay. Like I said, a little bit of pinks, pink, white in the highlights. This could be go just a little bit brighter. Not by much. And like I said about this before, about putting in highlights, you know, gotta have like a count control about how much you're gonna really put in. When you get these guys, you're not putting in too many. And then usually making sure that there you go, not too many more than that. And just get a few little just a few little stronger highlights on these, on the edge of the nose here. I like putting them in with my knife just because it just kind of glides in there. You know, put in the eyeball. Definitely just a simple little dot of color. That is going to be in the cat. I'm using the oxide red. No, I am not. I'm using alizarin and phthalo green, in fact. I'm going to be using that. I just need a little bit more. Okay. I'm just going to get the highlights on the mouth. Okay, here we go. So that's about, you know, a good block in. Sort of starts to get the mood right on this one. I'm just gonna just go in and put in some couple little well-placed green spots while I got the paint. That's another good thing about this is, you know, just being able to reuse your paint. You know, you got big piles of paint, and you know, if I walk away from this, I can come back to it. I don't have to really mix new paint up. It's all right there, so I can just work on the rings a little bit. This is just, you know, just make sure I get this green in here a little bit deeper. And this is where you want to just, again, start to take it a little easy. Take your time. Because you'll end up overworking these things pretty quickly. I'm going to start putting in just a few strokes in the back here again. Trying not to really get too much into this area here. I want to keep it really quiet. So most of the stuff back is going to go back, just back in this area here where I already have a bunch of stroke. Really trying to make a little more sense out of some of the markings I put back there. A lot of those are just like placeholder marks. Now I just want to come back in and just make a little more sense out of them or not. Use just a little bit of brighter greens in this back edge here, if this does anything. It starts to give it a little bit of life. Now just a couple little glimpses of the water here, a little bit stronger yellow greens. And I can, like I said, now at least I can look at a few spots here that I knew the beak was going to be going in, and I just wanted the reflection to match up. So I had to wait for the beak to be done before I, put in the colors here. But those are just going to be pretty much the beak colors. I'm not going to have to do anything really on top, looking on top of the thing on the top edge of the waves, or ring waves here, not the dark edge. And that's about open these guys up a little bit more. Like I said, play with the splash a little bit in my brush. It's got a little gobby. Let's just blend that out a little bit. And I'll let's see, anything else? I'm gonna beef up a couple good strokes in these this wing here. Okay, now it just would be the last little things I'll be doing is really just going in and defining a few areas more in the face. Making sure I got a enough rich colors showing through here. Push the feathers. Now, the last little thing would probably end up being switching off to a different brush, clean brush. Just really just noodling the head just a little bit more with the bright highlights. Mind that, I just wish this would have worked better. A little more warmth in the back of his neck here, and that'll be about it. That's all I'm going to probably end doing right now. Let's see what you guys did. I'll bring this in close and I'll, see how everybody else did. Straighten that out. We'll get a little air into this thing and well, this at least it's blocked in. I'll bring it in close. You guys take a look, and we'll take a look and see what you guys did. So you can start seeing, and yeah, some of those lights in here are not quite as burnt out as they look. There's some colors going on in here. A little bit of more work to do down in here, a little bit more smoothing out. And in the back end, there's really not much back up there. So it's a start. So, they said got about 15 minutes left to go. So let's see if anybody wants to show theirs. I'd be happy to take a look and give some pointers. Let's see. I know a few people painted. Anybody paint? Want to
Okay,
show
I
theirs?
painted.
Lisa, or I mean Eva.
Yep, let me just try to get this monster.
Turned around.
Ooh, bad lights.
Bad light. Yeah, look at that thing. Oh, see, nice job, Eva. I mean, you blocked it in awful quick. You got a lot of good work done really quickly on that. That's awesome. Yeah, well, you got a little bit of work to do in the whites. You got a little bit more shadows to put in there and things, but your greens are working really well. You know,
Okay.
very solid. I mean, that front end of his beak and thing is going really good. Yeah, you just to the point of working on your midtones, and that'll be super really great beginning. Congrats. I love the wing. The darks in the wing and things coming along really well. You keep going in that direction with your other midtones in the body, and I think it's gonna be a nice piece. Big too. What is that? A 20 by 16 or 18 by 24?
16 by 20.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Paint as big as I did. Congrats.
Now it's time for my little brushes.
Yeah, you're time for the little brushes. Yeah. I know you'll be up to 1 o'clock in the morning painting, won't you?
The
Okay,
other
Lee.
thing, you see,
Yeah?
yours is just landing. My already swimming. My it's kind of flat and landed.
Yeah. Well, it'll
Anyway.
come together. It will come together. I have faith in you. It looks good. It looks really great. It's a really great start there, Eva.
Okay.
Really
Thank you.
some real fun brush strokes going on in the back too. Don't lose those. Okay, just keep
Yeah, I
that
use
happiness
this-
going back. Yeah, that goofy stuff back there. That's exciting stuff. I love that kind of brushwork. Even though you got the glare on it. Yeah, back in there. Just leave that kind of stuff showing. That's good stuff.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see. Lisa, I don't know if Lisa painted, but we're gonna look in on Lisa. Lisa, did you paint?
Yeah,
Yes, she did. Yeah, Lisa, okay, that's enough.
that's good.
Yeah, well, there's so many problems. I don't know with this one, Lisa. I don't know where to begin. Wow. Okay. Well, this definitely shows you probably should have been teaching the class today.
No,
No, beautiful green work. I mean, those greens coming up frontwards, and going to the back really work excellent. Your colors and your design, your strokes are beautiful. The head of the guy is coming along really well. You're basically right where Eva was with working your midtones, but your splash right underneath him wow, that looks great. That purple splash coming in like that. That's excellent. That really has a lot of life to it. Yeah, beautiful. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking I can't get the paint to come off the brush. Like, look at his head. It's just a big mess. Because I
Oh,
can't,
really?
at some point, the paint, it just slides around and the green gets in there and I can't get the paint off the brush. It's almost like I need to let it dry for a couple days and then work it.
You worry too much about that stuff. You just blend it in. We shouldn't have too many hard edges on him anyway. That's the whole thing. There's motion going on here. But look at that wave underneath. It looks great. That looks really fun.
Good.
Even the amount you have there is plenty. You don't even have to go very much more. Splash wise, I think it's just a little spray added. Just take it easy on the spray. Just don't get too carried away and lose it. Keep the focus on this. Yeah, you will.
Do you flick your brush like watercolor with oil paint, or how would you do those little dots?
I just put them in. I put them in just with
Okay.
my knife or
Okay.
eraser and just touch them in. I don't try to do too many.
Okay.
Don't keep it down.
Okay.
Make it nice. Keep the thought of it you're designing the whole time you're putting them in. Instead of just putting them haphazard, you really want to make
Right.
arcs. And when you put them in there, you don't want them just splattered like stars, because
Okay.
then they won't work. You got to really kind of pattern them out a little bit, so you feel the force coming out. But oh god dang, that's beautiful.
Good start. I
Yeah,
kept up.
good start. Yeah, nice. Now go away. Anybody else work tonight?
I painted.
Okay, Kathleen painted. Let me see if we can
Hi,
find you, Kathleen.
Kathleen.
Hi, how are you guys?
Yay.
Both you and
Yes.
Eva's look really great.
Is this
I'm
you,
glad we went
Kathleen?
before you.
Yeah, it's me. I'm trying to,
Oh, that's
Good.
fine.
Okay.
no, I'm not very good with this iPad.
Oh, you did really well. No, that looks great. Your background's fabulous.
Is it? I thought it needed more.
Birds coming along. And the
Needs a lot
greens are
more
in
paint though,
place.
right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you just gotta work on the getting the 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 wing to come on, be a little bit more forceful right there. Right now it's ending, the black's ending right where the
Oh, yeah, it should
part
be
of his
long.
wing is there. So it needs to come a little bit farther back just to, or it can pops out of there a little bit.
Okay.
You might even have to lighten some of the greens right behind it just a little bit to pop that gray out, green, the dark of that the wing out a little bit too, or use some a little bit more white coming back a little bit farther too, just a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I like the colors you got going in his body. I think I think your highlights need to be a little bit stronger on his chest and on top of his head.
Okay.
And then in the water, it's coming along really well. It's just you listened well, keeping more gray. So basically, just a little more light in the body. Good splash starting on the back end. Front end. Could you just haven't gotten there yet. I like the colors of the water. You moved them around really nice. I feel like there's some movement to the water, and but I would say
Okay.
also you have watch. You don't have to do too much more now on the water. I think you got the nice rings working.
Don't overdo it.
I'm just trying to tell you not to overdo it.
Would
Keep it
I
a
do
little,
that?
keep it that there. That's good.
Okay.
Just clean up the reflection a little bit and of the bird, and
Okay.
you'll be good.
All right. I can't get the good greens you get though. I don't know. Yours just pop, but
A lot of yellow. It probably could be, just we found from in France. You got to have really good colors sometimes for those yellow, for those really strong.
well, I got
spots.
Rembrandts.
You do?
Yeah.
Well, you can't. You gotta put it out. You gotta
Maybe
add
I'm
it
just-
in there.
Okay. I'll just put it in a little stronger, maybe.
That's a little stronger, maybe. That's about it. Maybe it doesn't look. It looks really good though, color wise.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks. I think I just need to add more paint on some of it, but not the water though.
Okay. Yeah,
All
just
right.
work on the bird a little bit. Just work on the bird, and then just a touch more of the reflections.
Okay.
And the spray, and you're in really great shape for what, an hour painting. Pretty great.
Well, that's because we're following you.
Yeah, you're following, but you're still you
Well,
really
thanks.
put it to work. You looks great.
Well-
Good job.
Okay. Thank you.
No worries. Anybody else paint who want to take a look?
I will.
Who's I will? I don't have an I will on here.
Rebecca, I'm new here. Hi.
Hi. Sure. Okay. Rebecca, let me see if I can find you here.
I am,
Rebecca Ferrier.
yes.
Okay.
Trying
You're
to
gonna
figure out how I
have to
can-
turn on your camera. Okay. There you go. There you are. Hi, Rebecca.
Hi there. So I'm actually new to oils. Sorry, it's very dark because it's late by me. I don't know how to do, maybe this light is too much. I don't know how to do it in this light.
That's okay. I'm used to it. Let me see. Yeah, that's okay. Were you working with phthalo greens and stuff like that?
Yes, I'm actually using water mixable oils too. I don't have all, oh, I just have green all over my face now. I don't have all the
Uh-oh.
colors that you have, and I can't say I'm loving phthalo because man, it's like doesn't forgive at all.
It doesn't. It doesn't. You. But when you get it trained right, it works out pretty well. Okay. Yeah, that's coming along really great already. I like the head, the placement, the design overall, really good. At this point, yeah, there's just you're gonna have to get a little bit more yellows into your greens in the water, right?
Okay.
Little more warmth there, and then of course into the body of the bird. Yeah, we're gonna probably push the shadows a little bit deeper. Right now,
Okay.
they're all about the same. So, but yeah, I do like what you're doing there with the warms and the cools playing against each other under the wing. I'm talking about this area
Yeah.
underneath the wing here. Yeah,
Okay.
I like it. Just could go just a little bit darker,
Okay.
you know. And then your highlights look pretty good. That's
We're
I
getting
would
there.
look at that, and your splash is good. That's pretty good.
All right, well, it's a good start. Oh, and look, I'm green all over me now.
It's a really good start. What do you want for an hour, right? That's the
Thank
thing.
you. I learned a
That's
lot.
what you got to remember. You only put about an hour and a half into this painting, and you got a total block in, and you got something that's going pretty well in the right. It's going in the right direction. Okay. Anybody else?
Me. Hello, me.
Okay. Me.
Me is
Name.
Tim with the red shirt.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
My name is Kim, although I think it's going to show up as Ed on yours, but I don't know.
Oh, Ed. Ed.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see this.
Here's what. Let's see if we can get
There
you.
you go. Okay, yeah, because people's names you never show. Wow,
Is that clear?
that's
Yeah.
a great bird. That's super. I love your splash. That has some guts. Great strokes. Love that little dash of blue in the water, in the pink in those guys. Okay. What do you want me? What else you want me to
No,
say?
no, that's great. I just thought the splash looked a bit messy, and like the last person, I don't have phthalo green, so I improvised. But
Yeah. Well, you did a good job improvising. Yeah, there's a little, thickness and thinness in the neck. You probably have to clean up, and then they're worried about the underneath the beak, but it doesn't look like you'll have any problem doing that. You have really great strokes going on there in the top of that wing. Real good brushwork. Your brushwork looks gorgeous. I love it. Love the twists and stuff coming off so far. Yeah, just a little more highlights going in and around the body, into the top, in the edges of the wings and body. That's really all you need, and I think that's going to pop out.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to, of course, like I said, you work on the beak a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I tell you, that's really great for a few hours work.
Good. Thank you.
Really
Thank you
beautiful. Congrats. Thanks for showing. All right. Who else wanted to show?
I have mine, Jim. It's Lori.
Oh, Lori. Hi, Lori.
Hi.
You too. Okay. Wow, Lori, that has some real guts and movement to it. That feels great. I mean, that splash and that reflection work so well together. Yeah, I'm not sure how much you use too much white into those things. They're consistent. They're really consistent. I'd say top of his head probably needs to be a little more. I'm not sure how much of the camera is burning out some of the whites too, color wise. But yeah, I mean I would say your background feels really good. I really love the feel of that. And the splash is fabulous. That's a really good splash up front. I'm sorry, that thing is just that that energy there just really draws me in. I would say, yeah, look at, finishing up the beak. That this is, the tough little thing is, you got this really great loose style going right now. And, now you got to tighten it up, but just figure out how to tighten that beak up and stay consistent with what you already have. That's, otherwise, wow, yeah, I just really like looking at that water.
Yeah,
Stuff.
I think I lost my,
Laying in there, so it lays in there so well.
yellow green.
Really fabulous. What do you have any concerns or things or thoughts?
Well, the bottom of the bird just kind of plops there, but I tried to add more dark. I don't know. I just think it's so sloppy because of the green got messed up in the water.
Oh, really? So you want to get rid of everything I like?
I'll just go in and add some more yellow green, like the photo.
You could add some little bit more, but you don't have to do too much. I'd say, yeah. I really like that part. It feels very finished. Feels really.
Okay.
It has a kind of a Richard Schmid kind of feel to it. I hate to say that just because of the greens you're using there. They're going in just the way they're layered in there, and some of the brushwork's so beautiful. But yeah. Work on a little bit toning down the whites a little bit, but
Okay.
seeing how you can do that.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's my camera.
Okay,
I hope
that's
to be
another thing.
better.
Another thing. I don't want to go too hog wild with any changes because of the video too. But
Yeah.
otherwise, it's really beautiful.
Thank you.
Great job.
Okay, I'm looking forward to next week.
Yeah, coming up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I got one. Debbie?
Okay. What's the name?
Debbie. Oh, well, it just says iPad because I'm not signed in, but can you see
Okay, let me
iPad?
see. Just iPad.
It's Debbie.
You probably went to the top here. Okay, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I've got a long link there. Hi, Debbie.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi.
It's a 12. It's the only canvas I had left.
That's fine. That's fine. So,
well, the light's not very good.
Yeah, that's
terrible light. Yeah, it's a start, right?
It's a good start. That's a solid start. The drawing, it looks like a pelican pretty much, and you got a good splash. you got it, laying down pretty nicely where it comes in, and it feels you have a lot of energy to it. Your highlights, where you put your brushwork, where you put the highlights in on his tops of his wings and on the sides and stuff are really good and correct. Really feel like you have some power there, and it creates power in the painting. Just keep that going.
A long ways to go.
Yeah, just keep that going.
Yeah.
You green. It's one of the things I don't want to comment too much on color on a lot of these things, is because of video quality and stuff and light quality and stuff. I don't want to mess you up and stuff. But all I can do is say, yeah, that's going in the right direction really nicely. And feels like a nice pelican. I love that wing and the splash. That's really, really nice. Good feel.
It's the start.
The head too.
Thanks.
The head works too. Just always, we haven't gotten too much finish work done on these things yet. So, but thanks. Appreciate you guys
so
showing.
where do we, like you said, there's a Facebook where you can show your work after you finished it?
Yeah, when you
where's
finish
that?
it all up and stuff, there's a James Swanson student painting site, student thing. Yeah, you just go to that and apply to get in, and I see your name, I usually, hit it and let people in. If I get a lot of people I don't know, I really, regular people who want to get in there, and I really want to keep it just to only students, that have taken taking courses, so they understand, so we can
Yeah.
keep it personal and stuff. And anyway, but
Okay.
well, that's it. Thanks for you guys joining me. I'm glad a lot of you guys painted along with this one. This is pretty much the kind of stuff we'll be doing. We'll be doing more landscapes. We're going to be doing some people. Going to do a night scene. We're going to do some just plain palette knife paintings, and we got a couple tonalist paintings figured out for this next section. So, we got a little bit of smorgasbord of things we'll be painting. So, it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you guys want to sign up and stuff, go back to the website and look, you can find them on my online section there, painting section. So, and otherwise, guys, thanks for joining me and painting along. Enjoyed it.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
James.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Have the
Great
rest of a
class.
nice evening.
Thanks, Jim. Good
All
night.
right.
Night, guys.
Night.
Thanks so much. Good
All
night.
right. See y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.